do we have here? This is definitely not your ordinary box body Mustang. And I'm about to show you why. Actually, let me put this up. That is a GM product, and because they're so reliable and easy to build, it was just a better option for this car. What do you think a motor like this is pushing? Well, with that big ass thing, look how big this thing is. This is pushing around 13 to 1400 horsepower. This thing cruises. Sounds good. I don't know the millimeter turbo it is, but as you can see, that thing is ridiculous huge. I've known Ricky for a while. He actually, when I first met him, he started out with Hondas, and he had some very impressive Hondas. Very competitive at the drag strip. This is like all he does. And this thing is an absolute beast. Look at that, paratrooper. Just in case he wants to jump out of a helicopter. We got to paint the trunk, the underside and the outside. We're actually going to paint the wing too. This wing doesn't look like much, but it makes such a difference at high mile an hour, especially with these notchback cars. Now, he is not the type of person that likes wings or anything aggressive accessories on his car, but it's more like a safety feature at this point. So, and the front of the car, he shaved the antenna on this fender. He had to make a couple changes to the fender. And the bumper also, he made a couple changes to the bumper. They keep changing his class up. So now he can't have the exhaust exit out this hole, so we got to take care of that. And I'm going to add some fiberglass in here to help direct the air into the car. Right now the air can go in there and kind of venture that way or that way. It's going to make a big difference if I just put some fiberglass in there to help direct it. Believe it or not, this intercooler is probably the thickest intercooler I've ever seen. And when I have the bumper off, you'll be able to see it. So it needs all the help it can to help direct air through it to cool it off. So we're gonna pause on the Supra, we're gonna pause on the Porsche. I want to give a couple cars like this some attention. In fact, if it wasn't for these cars, I wouldn't be able to support my hobby. I do have a 9 to 5. I work 40-50 hours a week, just like you do, and that's enough to support my house and to support my family. I have 2 kids and a wife, but that is not enough to support projects like this, so I hustle. In fact, my channel was called Hustleworks, and there's a little bit of meaning to that, and Hustleworks is still in play, but right now I named him Matt Pratt because they said that's better for YouTube, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, we'll get into that on another video. Right now, let's grab some tools and take this car apart. wide, big this intercooler is. It's crazy. It's like super deep. Kind of see the size of that turbo in there now. Pretty wild. This thing can move, if you can't tell. All right, all the panels are taken off. Got this trunk flipped upside down. Wants me to repair some holes here. This is where we got to build that air dam and fill this hole in. So first step is to prep the areas so we can get some fiberglass on them. All right, we got the areas prepped out, so fiberglass will adhere to it. I really don't know what I'm gonna do about this. He drilled these access holes to help mount the wing mounts, and he wants them filled up. I feel like I'd rather have like some plates riveted here. I might talk to him about that. Just because I can't really back it. I can't really get in there. I have like 2 holes here, but nothing here. I really don't know how I would fill this. Honestly, the only way I would be able to do it is to maybe spread some fiberglass mat all the way across, you know, and then body filler over it. That's probably the only way I can. The good thing is that this isn't a structural part of the trunk. It's not the outside part of the trunk, it's the inside. It stays inside. It does get slammed all the time by shutting it, but you know, if he wants me to do this, I'm gonna have to let him know that there's no guarantee this possibly could fail. And you can't see it, it's the inside of the trunk, so it should be okay. So we're just gonna risk it. As for this side, I usually build a kind of like a mold out of like cardboard, and then I wrap foil tape around it so the fiberglass doesn't stick to it, and then that's what I'll use as a mold, let that harden up overnight, and then take the cardboard out of it, and then, you know, I'm left with a fiberglass mold. Then I'll fill in the inside to help smooth it out, and I'll reinforce it a little bit here and there. Same thing for that. So this stuff is a no-brainer. I've done it before and I'm comfortable with that, but this, we're just gonna wing it. Looks kind of crazy. Probably looks like one of your AC ducts, but this is how I've always done it. I don't know if it's the correct way, but I've winged it like this plenty of times and it's worked. But I just build it out of cardboard and then I put it together with aluminum tape. The resin from the fiberglass doesn't stick to aluminum tape really well, so after I lay resin over this and fiberglass and it hardens, I can pull this right out. And this is how I've always done it, and it's always worked like this. Looks kind of goofy, but it was pretty simple. So this area is prepped and this area is prepped, so let's get some resin mixed up. And this is the product we're going to be using. It's made from Polymer Planet. This is what I usually use, but this stuff was expensive. This was 60 bucks. It's like I got a lot of hardener, and this was like 15 or 20 bucks, but this is a great brand. This just came for 60 bucks, and it came with, God, I think like 100 and some square foot of mat, which is awesome. So we're gonna check it out though. I mean, it says automotive, RV, high strength, shrink resin works well with cloth, blah blah blah. I mean, it looks like the same stuff that I'm using here, so excited to try it out because I'm always buying these little, you know, $30 things of resin. So yeah, let's see what happens. is gross. I probably had to switch gloves like 3 or 4 times. Anyways, that product I used was pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. It started kicking pretty fast, which is good, because when you're smearing it, it starts to set up. You can actually work it in really, really well like that. And everything looks pretty good. I even was happy with the fiberglass mat. It wasn't too loose. Sometimes you'll be messing with this fiberglass mat and it'll be too loose and you're trying to spread it and it's just pulling all the fibers out and just making these balls and these clobs of fiberglass everywhere. So I didn't even have that issue, which was really awesome. But everything went on pretty good. I am going to let it dry the entire night, and yeah, we should be good to go. All right, I'm gonna clean all my tools up, my scissors and everything. They got goo all over them, and then I'm out of here. See y'all in the morning. It is the next day, and it looks hard, but what I don't like, it's a big bubble right there, is how transparent it looks. It looks pretty damn transparent. It's pretty stiff. I usually do 2 to 3 layers. I did 2 layers on this one, just because I'm gonna, when I take the cardboard out, I'll be smoothing out this side with more fiberglass filler, so it'll be like 3 layers after that. But this still looks a little more transparent than the glass that I'm used to. I used a different fiberglass this time that came with its own resin. I like the resin. The resin worked out great. It was very similar to the resin that I always use color-wise and mixing-wise. But I thought the fiberglass was actually better, as in it just laid better. A lot of fibers didn't come off of it whenever you're trying to push, lay it out. But maybe it's a lot thinner than the fiberglass that I was using. Well, let's cut this off and see how thick it is and see if we can't work with it. Alright, it is on here, but I'll tell you what, this is way too thin for my liking. So we're still going to shape it and cut it and put our filler in here to smooth that area out and everything. And if I don't like how sturdy it is, like it still feels this thin, it's pretty easy just to flip it over and just put a couple extra layers to stiffen it up. I don't have to remold anything or anything like that, which is good. So we'll continue on with building this duck, and so we can keep rolling. Alright, she is on here. We shaved her. She looks pretty good. The cool part is look, stiff as hell. I mean, this stuff is like, it feels like it's three layers thick now after I added the filler on there. And I had to add the filler on there because you weren't going to get very smooth fiberglass just with resin. Anyways, before I took the bumper off, I actually took some measurements and wrote them down up there, and they gave me an idea where to cut it at. And I cut it pretty good. I had to sand it a little bit to tighten it up. I have a little bit of a gap here. I might fill that with filler, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to direct somewhat. So now we can take it back off and we can actually finally put some finishing filler on here and prime it along with the rest of the part. we got our hole filled, and this is looking good, super strong. Still a little rough right there, but way stronger than when I first thought when I first laid the 2-ply of fiberglass. Over here, got a little bit of blocking on this. It feels really good, and the holes are filled for this. Now, I didn't go too crazy on here. It is the underside. I think if I just hammer it with primer, it'll be good enough. Sanding in that area is actually kind of tough. Well, anyways, I need to move some cars around. There's so much crap everywhere. I'm gonna have to like stack some cars because I need some space so I can prime all this stuff. So let's get on that. So I got this old tire rack from my work. It actually used to have bars that went across here. It would hold a set of tires down there and hold a set of tires up here. And I actually got it so I can hang stuff and paint them. But I actually want to hang big stuff. Like I want to hang this trunk from it. So I got some steel bar, and I'm going to attempt to bend it up so it can be like hooks. So they can be like hooks up here, and I can hang parts. Kind of heavy from there. So they got this tube like squished ovally that should be, I mean, it should be a lot stiffer, you know, vertical wise. So I don't know. We're gonna try it, and hopefully nothing falls off of it. Look at that. Now, I'll tell you what, I thought this was actually wider. This is pretty tight, but I mean, I should be able to spray up in there pretty good. So, I mean, we'll find out. We're gonna do a little test run and prime both sides because this stuff needs a coat of primer for sure. So just because raw fiberglass, that stuff will soak in, and he did a little repair up here himself. So I'm just gonna put like 2 coats across that and a couple coats on everything else. And yeah, we should be good to go. Maybe we can get this thing prepped out tonight, put the lamp on it, heat everything up. Sweet. That looks pretty good. That looks really good. Nice and dry, nice and flat. Same thing for this. This turned out really nice. Really happy with the way that looks. Now I did have to dab the primer a little bit, and what that means is fiberglass always has pinholes. It's really hard to avoid that. High quality fiberglass doesn't, but these race car parts usually always do. And when the primer's wet, you just kind of dab your finger in there and it'll sometimes fill the pinhole. It's just a chance you take. You're going to sand it anyway. There's a good chance that they won't fill, and I'll be cutting the top of them off, exposing the pinhole, but that's alright. I'll just stick a painter's putty in there. It's just a fast drying lightweight filler, and that usually does the trick before I spray. So, alright, now I get to prep all this stuff out for paint, and you guys won't see it until the next video. I know I have enough footage when I fill all my memory cards up, so I'm going to actually start editing all this stuff out to get it out to you. But the next video is definitely going to be prepping and painting and putting this car back together. So, If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'm doing stuff like this every single week. And if you have subscribed, I appreciate it big time. Drop a like, comment, share this video, and go work on something until I see you next time.